Guys, wow. I think I've done it.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Let's Play episode. It's Hux, hanging out, doing stuff on the single player world like I do. Hope you guys are having a good day. I'm having a great day. We're at the gold farm. Thought I'd show you guys this. I'm sure some of you were wondering where I was getting all these golden carrots from. And yeah, this place is pretty awesome, so let me show you around. So as you can see, this big taco is like, as I like to call it, the big V is a bunch of spawning blocks, spawning area for guys to spawn on. The rails pick them up, the activator rails, drop them off in the center, and then all of these carts go and collect them out of that little box down there. And then the activator rails over here, drop them into the crusher, and everything is gravy. Well, I shouldn't speak too soon. It's not all gravy. There's actually quite a bit of issues with this farm. One of them is this. As you can see, there's carts that are just stopped. This guy is not going to move until another cart comes up, and there aren't any more coming up, and that's because there's a pigman sitting on the track, and behind him is a cart with a pigman in it, and they're just bouncing back and forth and bouncing back and forth, and they're never going to, move until the guy actually moves himself, and gets out of the way of the carts. The other problem is every single time I come up here, I have to replace carts because they are jumping tracks, and that's a really weird glitch that's been going on for a long time. In this game for many years, and it's just frustrated the heck out of me for so long. This farm is great, but it's just got this major issue where every time you unload the area, the carts jump all to the middle track, which is really lame. It totally breaks this farm every time, which requires a manual reset, which is pretty tricky, especially if they're mad at you, because you got to go down there where they all are. But aside from that, this is a pretty great farm. The only other problem I have is sometimes they lose aggro on me, which is pretty frustrating as well, because I can't quite understand how or why they are losing aggro. I've got these name tag guys here. They're supposed to stay mad at me, and everybody else listens to them because they're the boss. Yeah, it's pretty great when it works, but sometimes it doesn't. So I'm going to try to show you guys here how it just stops working randomly, and maybe some of you guys can give me some advice. Tell me maybe a way that I could fix this. So right now, nobody's mad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit these guys with snowballs. And these guys that were being crushed right now probably won't be mad at me, but anybody else that comes into the system will be. Oh, well, that actually happened pretty well. So now you can see they're aggressive. So if I move around, this pigman's going to try and track me. So that means that it's working. And which is pretty great because this crusher every once in a while will crush them. The game will register it because they're mad at you that you're killing the pigman, and it'll give you XP, which is great because you can just sit here, you can repair your items, you don't have to move, get tons of gold, which makes golden carrots, which is the best food source in the game. So yeah, it's pretty great when it's working. Wow, that's some crazy glitch. You see that? That was awesome. So there's some issues. Carts jumping around, but as long as you're sitting here, it doesn't seem to happen by itself. Kind of only seems like it happens when you go in and out of the nether. The other problem about how they lose aggro, I really don't know how to deal with that. I've tried many different things. I've tried AFKing at different places around this platform that's still close enough to grab the XP from the box, but it just seems like after a couple minutes they just lose interest in me lately. It's worked one time all the way overnight. I got about 100 levels. It was amazing. Spent them, tried it again, and I haven't been able to get it to work since, and so I don't know what I've been doing wrong. I don't know if something happened. The only thing I can think is maybe these guys can't see a path to me or something because it's glass on the floor, and they lose aggro because they don't think they can get to me. That's the only thing I can think is happening. So if anybody has any ideas on how to fix that, how to keep them aggro for a longer amount of time, that'd be great. I'm not sure if it's a console thing or if it's just something I'm doing wrong, but anyway, that's the gold farm. It's pretty awesome. You can see there's tons of gold and stuff that I've been getting while I'm up here, taking lots of gold out of it, but tons of enchanted swords, and there's actually some wither skeletons and stuff every once in a while, like you see in there right now. That's lucky. And I'll whack them with the looting sword if I'm watching out for them, but they don't drop anything unless you actually hit them first. But yeah, so that was the first thing I wanted to show you guys, is this crazy gold farm. Definitely recommend building something like this if you're in survival mode, you want an easy way to build a gold farm. This is a pretty easy thing to do because it's real straightforward. The one last disclaimer, the one last thing, is all of these issues I've been talking about really come down to the way that rails work in this game and how they work differently depending on which orientation you place them at. And so if you could think about this for a minute, if I was to place a rail down right here on a block, it would be orientated left to right. It would be this way to that way. And you can see the farm, these three main rails are laid out the other direction. So if you build this yourself, you want to build it where the rails automatically are aligned in this orientation to the farm to prevent having to build up tons of blocks in the center to get the guys to fall in the right spot, and also it'll prevent the carts merging tracks so often. So that's a huge thing where I went wrong, and I'm not sure if that has anything to do with how the pigmen are losing aggression towards me, but it seems to be working out right now pretty well. So that was the first thing I wanted to show you. I hope you guys thought that was pretty cool. I think this is one of the coolest farms that I've seen. But the second thing is I'm going to grab an ender pearl. I'm going to shoot down here, and I'm going to show you what I've been doing the last few days. Something I've discovered I've wanted to do for a long time. Finally figured it out. Thanks to Exumavoid playing on the Hermitcraft server. He showed me how to break some Bedrock in one of his videos, and I thought I'd try it on console, and it turns out it totally works, which is awesome. It's a great way to do it. Usually when people do this, they can only maybe break one block at a time and stuff. And even that's really hard, but this is awesome because I can break as many blocks as I want. I could do this whole freaking area if I had the time, because it doesn't actually take too long, which is pretty rad. And it also makes it just so easy to travel up and down through here. I want to make an elevator at some point that goes all the way to the top from in here. So you don't even have to see that there's a hole here, but man, that's pretty cool. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to hop into a creative world. I'm going to show you how to do this. It's pretty straightforward. Little disclaimer, you might call what I'm going to be doing cheating, so keep an open mind. Just, think about, how much it matters to you and how much fun you can have doing this, and maybe if a little cheating, isn't the worst thing to do in survival, because, if you play this game like I have, you played it religiously on hard mode survival with no cheats and no duping or no anything, because that's how Minecraft's supposed to be played, I think. But in this particular situation, we're going to make a quick exception, a small exception, and we're going to do a little exploit that I think that you guys are going to be interested in. So sit back, I'm going to hop into my other world, and I will BRB. So guys, I opened up a brand new creative world, and I've already been to the end. I've killed the ender dragon, and I got myself a bunch of eggs. I've duplicated them, so I had some backups just in case I accidentally deleted my hotbar. I've got a whole bunch just in case so I don't lose them. And I built this cool little contraption. So this is something that I've seen on a few other YouTubers' videos. Exumavoid is doing this on the Hermitcraft server, is where I got the idea. I wanted to see if it was possible on the console version of Minecraft, which it definitely is, which is awesome. It's actually a little easier too with the way that it all works out. So let me show you what's going on here. So if this redstone wire is powered, this torch will turn off, these will retract, the banners will break, and the eggs will fall. The reason I'm using banners is because it's real easy to place them. You don't have to be crouched to click on the other ones. And so we're going to go all the way to the end of this line on camera, so you can see that there isn't any kind of crazy editing, no editing magic or anything. This is just some really quirky game mechanics here going on, which I wish I could explain. So what you can see right now is at the top left of my screen, at the end of that wire, you can actually see those eggs still in render distance. And so what you would expect if I was to power this line right here is the eggs would fall and they would be visible on the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to power the line, we're going to wait until it drops them, and you can see that they've now disappeared. And so you might be thinking it's a visual error, but we're going to replace this and we're going to go back over and we're going to see what happened. So you can already see that dragon eggs have fallen, but they've replaced the blocks instead of landed on top of them. Mind blow, right? How cool is that? So you can actually do this in survival mode. I bet some of you are probably going to be wondering, Hux, how do you get multiple dragon eggs in survival mode? And that's where the catch comes in. Disclaimer, just PSA, everybody pay attention. This is, important stuff. Some people would see this as cheating, but I'm going to look at this as an exploit a technical exploit that you can use in survival mode, and in my opinion is completely not cheating because it opens up a cool possibility for something that you'd never be able to do in the original vanilla game unless you use this exploit. And what it is a secret. I'm not going to tell you. I don't want to spread the information on how to do this because if you're able to do this with dragon eggs, you can pretty much do it with anything else. And so, I just don't want to spread information on how to duplicate items and all that stuff, just so I'm sure that if you really wanted to figure it out, if you really need to figure out how to duplicate some dragon eggs in a legitimate way, in a legitimate survival world, and that's the only thing you'll ever duplicate just so you can have some extras, so you can do this cool trick, then I'm confident you'll be able to find it on the internet. So anyway, that's a cool thing. That's how I broke that bedrock. I just wanted to show you that real cool trick. Words, brain, the brain words. And so anyway, the last thing about this, the whole way it works, the only way I can describe this to you is you look at the coordinates. We got 115 here at the back of the eggs, at the farthest away from the end of the line. And if we go all the way in this direction, super long ways away, it's about 250 blocks. So you can see we're at 365 when we come over here. And so it's not quite 250. As you can see, I was a few blocks short. And so what you want to do is you want to count out 250 from the first egg all the way to the last point, and then just go back by like 3 or 4 blocks. So I've been doing some work around the base, been adding some walkways, as you can see. Not too stoked on this particular design. I think it works. Let me know if you got any suggestions on how to make this better. I'm not too happy with the fence posts, and I'm not quite sure. It's still a work in progress. This stuff is really hard for me, but I like how it turned out. Over here we got some potion brewers. These are all 3x3x3 semi-automatic brewing stands. These two are filled. Nothing's in here, but we got splash potion of poison 2 and water breathing 8 minutes down in here. So I'm going to show you how these work. They're pretty awesome. This is one of the coolest redstone contraptions I think I've ever seen in this game. I just love these so much. I build these in every one of my worlds. I saw this a long time ago. What happens is you have water bottles up here in the system. They're locked into this hopper by some redstone behind, and they don't. Well, not into this hopper. The brewing stand is actually is able to receive the bottles. Is what I'm trying to say, brain. And the hopper underneath is locked, so they aren't pulled out until you hit the button. That's how it works. So, buttons on the other side of this green block, which will power the dropper, which is full of some ingredients. Power the torch, which will power this dropper full of ingredients, and the redstone, which will power this full of ingredients, and this one too if you got something you want to make it into a splash potion or whatever. And yeah, and this is how the hopper's locked, is by this redstone and the block right here. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. These are already brewed, so you look here, you can see that it's all ready to go. There's nothing in the hopper above. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk around the front. We can hit this button. It's got to be a wooden button in order for the time to be correct. You can see they emptied and now it's filled back up again. So we got a bunch more in here. It's draining the water bottles. If we go back into the back again, you can actually see that the proper things are being dispensed. If we look up here real quick, you can see the next 2 ingredients. And they're always going to come in at this, in this order. And that has to do with the orientation. And so the way you do it is you just experiment and you do a process of elimination, and it's really simple to figure out which one is first. So yeah, we got the poison back here. Not sure what I'm going to do with the middle one, but I thought that was pretty cool. Just like one of the simplest, but also one of the most powerful machines. I just love it. It's pretty cool. You just want 3 potions real quick. You just walk up and bam, there you go, 3 potions. So guys, something else I wanted to work on was this bridge over here at the mesa. I did my intro video, and I came up with a pretty cool design to make this bridge a little bit more beefy and also raise it up off the water a little bit so boats can go under it. And it's using dark oak and the new bone blocks, which I think is a really good combination of colors together. I think the contrast and the colors, it looks really great. And this design is pretty interesting. I built this in creative, and it actually, when you're walking through it, it kind of looks, when you got the roof on and everything, it kind of looks like these bone blocks are almost like windows that are maybe fogged, or like, foggy windows, and it almost looks like it's overcast outside, and it's just kind of an interesting interesting thing to have these white blocks up here. I think it's going to work out pretty well. So let's keep on working on this. See what else we can do. I think that now it's probably time to add the roof. I'm going to go with dark oak because I think that the contrast here is going to work well with the bone blocks. And I don't want to use spruce wood because I use a lot of it over there. So I'm going to kind of try and transition the block palette from the lush mesa over here into the desert. Okay, so we got a little bit more of the structure worked on, looking a little bit more solid, a little bit more propped up. Definitely is coming along. And I'm gonna do the roof here with you guys. I think that this is an interesting part of a build. I've always been really confused on, how to build roofs in like a, in a realistic way. It's pretty difficult. So I'm gonna do this shape with you on camera, so you guys can see how I do this. So we're gonna start off with 2 stairs going up. So this is going to make our little lip, and then we could just keep going with stairs, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it upside down, and I'm going to go for a full block. So this is how I'm going to get a little bit more of a varied slope. So let's put another stair on top of that. So it's looking pretty steep right now. You might be wondering if this is going to look right, when it's put together, but let's just roll with it. Trust me, I know it's going to look good. So there's your one side of the curve. Let's go to the other side. Let's do the same thing over here. Couple out like this. Reverse it. Couple on top. So I think that this gives it a really nice feel. I got the idea for this bridge. I was playing Elder Scrolls, playing online, which is just a little game I play every once in a while when I just want to zone out into some lore and think about some stories and stuff, because they got some really good stories in that game, like the lore and everything like that. So I was playing that game and I saw this covered bridge and I just thought it was so awesome. The roof was just so fantasy style and it was really great. So I'm trying to kind of do that here. I had something like this in creative mode and it looks like pinched. It looks like somebody came and pinched it, but if we keep working on this, I think it's going to actually even itself out, and it's going to look a lot better when it's done. It looks kind of goofy right now, but like I said, just trust me, we'll keep working on it. Maybe I'll come back when I got the roof finished, and I'll show you how to beat it up and make it look old and ruined, which is my favorite part of building. So, okay, I'll be right back. Guys, wow, I think I've done it. I'm going to walk out here with you so you can tell I'm excited. I built this in creative mode. It was a lot smaller. I built it shorter, so this is a little longer, and man, it's looking good. So let's get the reveal. Oh my gosh, look at that. Yes, 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 yes. I'm liking it. See, I got a hole in the roof. I'll fix that, don't you worry. Look at this though. The colors, the contrast. This orange and brown is totally working. With the blue sky is totally working. I think the gray is just the right amount of gray for the stone. I think it's working. I really like it. Maybe put some mossy cobble pillars up there or something like that. Yeah, so let's keep going, guys. This has turned out to be a great bridge design. I am loving this. Loving the roof. This is about to be my favorite part. I am so glad I am able to show you guys this, because this is one of my favorite things to do in this game. If anybody knows who Bob Ross is, the painter, the happy tree guy, this is what he's talking about all the time. And man, he's crazy, but he's so right. And the concept is to build and ruin. You build up this perfect structure. I'm sure you've heard other YouTubers talk about this, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it because it's a super important art, concept. But the idea is that you build up something that's perfect. You build a, maybe you're drawing a planet. This is a good example, is you're drawing a planet, or a rock maybe is even better. So you're drawing a boulder, in pencil or whatever. You're not going to start out by drawing the cracks in the boulder. You're going to start out by, drawing a big contour shape. That's the outside of the boulder. And then over time, you're just going to work your way layer by layer, adding a little bit of texture here and there to that contour. You know, you break it, you break your solid lines and your open spaces, and you know, eventually it starts to look worn and torn up and ruined, and that's when you start to get things that look realistic instead of, you know, just like a cookie cutter. This looks like it came out of a tube. It was just, you know, like tube of toothpaste, and it was shaped like this, and it just went bleh, and now it's the roof. So what we're gonna do, this is so fun. This has got to be one of my favorite things in this game. Might need some more stairs, but it's ruin it. So you take, which block is important here? I really like this straight line block. Whoops. The straight line block is important to give this roof some, you know, the upwards character. I think that that's a pretty defining part of it. So we're going to go up here. We're going to break it. Screw that block. We don't need it. Let's put a slab there. Just break it. Now let's just look at this for a second. You see what I did there? So now the roof's got character. It's got something that's different. It makes you look up there and you're not just like, oh, this is a symmetrical curve, like somebody just placed block, block, block. This makes you think, why is that missing? You know, why isn't there one like there is on the other side? Is there something, you know, different about this side of the roof? Like, did it get broken? Like, what happened? So it makes your mind think about it. And it doesn't really matter what you come up with, you know, what your conclusion of, you know, after you thought about why it was missing. It doesn't matter what you think about it. It just matters that you thought in the first place. You know, I've always had this conversation. My grandpa is like a professional artist. He's been doing art for many, many years. He does painting and stuff, and we've always had this conversation. He thinks that good art is art that makes you think. You know, it doesn't matter if you think. Well, let me rephrase actually, because I guess I'm wrong. I guess his opinion, you know, him being the professional artist, is that is a professional artist is somebody who can transport the viewer, the audience, the person who's looking at the artwork. You know, they can transport them into the emotion that the artist was feeling when they did the piece. That's the trick. That's the goal of an artist in his mind, is to transport you to that emotion, whatever it may be. But a specific thing. He wants you to be feeling what he was feeling when he was painting the piece. I have a slightly different, you know, I'm nowhere near as, you know, experienced with artwork as he is. You know, he's been doing it for years and years and years and years. He's my grandpa, you know, he knows a lot more than I do. But, you know, I've had my own personal experience, which is worth something, and I think that my opinion would be different in the way that, you know, I don't think it really matters what your conclusion is. You know, so for example, you totally hate something. I don't really think that that matters as far as defining whether or not the piece of art was good, because everyone's, you know, idea of beauty is subjective. And so here's the thing. I'm trying to say, this is a long-winded thing, but my point is that as long as it's making you think, I think that that's all that matters. You know, whether you hate it, you love it, if it's able to give you a strong emotion, whatever the emotion may be, you know, if you loathe, if I draw you a picture and you hate it so much, you can't even put it into words, man, that's a practice. I mean, try to do that on purpose. I guarantee you'll have trouble. And so my point is that, you know, if something makes you think, if it gets your brain working, I think you're doing it the right way. I think that you could be considered skillful at that, you know, because anybody can just recreate something brainlessly like a zombie, but it takes skill and it takes talent and time and effort to make something that makes people think about stuff when they look at it. It gets your brain moving, you know? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to... Whew, that was long, but again, my point. I'm trying to just break things here. I'm trying to make it look like this has got a story to it, you know? It's not just bam, 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 place the blocks in the pattern like you always do, make a roof. I want it to be here for a long time. I want this to be an old structure that, you know, it's warped in the sunlight. Like in real life, what happens to wood is when it warms up, it expands, and then when it's cold, it contracts, and that actually cracks it. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just put holes in it, break it up. This is a good first pass, but I think I'm going to even do some more. But man, look at how much that added. Just look at how much this added. It's quite crazy when you think about, You know, it's such a foreign concept to most players. Trying to do symmetrical things and trying to build it so perfect. But look at how much character this roof has now that there's holes in it. You know, just think about it, like the cobblestone and the stone brick. You know, that creates a contrast in textures, a variance in variety of the textures we're using. And so, because I don't want to use a whole different color of wood, this creates the variety while maintaining the theme of this dark oak. How perfect is that? That's so cool. So, whew, I'm getting excited. So anyway, I'm going to keep going. There's a few little secret touches I'm going to add to this roof that's just going to blow your mind. I bet you anything. So stick with me. We're almost done. Okay. So who would have thought my secret weapon would be grass blocks? Well, let's take a look at this. Man, oh my gosh, I'm almost speechless right now. Let's go up here. Oh, inside a block. Look at this. So there's a couple things that's going on here that I really like. So the first thing, most apparent thing, is look at this green compared to the brown texture from where the biome switches. How perfect is that? How perfect is that? Even more variants, you know, more layers, more different things. And what's also cool is I put some grass blocks in there, and that breaks it up even more. It looks like there's, you know, I didn't just spam bushes, like there's actually stuff growing up there, which is so cool. And then also, you know, replacing some wood with, you know, the different blocks gives it another layer and, you know, breaks it up even more. Man, that looks really, really, really good. I'm liking this a lot. This has got to be my favorite bridge I think I've ever built. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. A little bit of a shorter one. The last one was pretty dang long. I just had so much stuff I wanted to show you. I just, you know, couldn't cut it out of the video. It was so much fun to make these. I'm just having a blast, but I'm going to try and be a little more consistent. I really like it when YouTubers are, you know, consistent with their upload length and the type of videos they make. I just think it's nice, you know, you get a kind of a idea of what you're in for, and you get to expect something, and it's exciting when it finally comes out. So I'm gonna try and do that. It's gonna take a little bit of practice. Let me know what you thought about this bridge. I'm loving it. I just think that this is probably one of my favorite builds I've done in a really long time, and I just hope it gave you guys some inspiration. You know, that's my goal here, is to just make you think outside the box. You know, take this game that everybody thinks that they've figured it out, everybody thinks they know how to play it totally 100%, and oh my gosh, I'm so bored, there's nothing else to do. I'm gonna change your mind. I'm gonna make you think there is things to do. There's always something to do when you're creative and you're open-minded. That was my goal here. So anyway, hope you liked it. Till next time, guys, this has been Hux. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.